In 2009, Mr. Speaker, it was revealed that power plants similar in model and in make to the BNPP have experienced difficulties, particularly 3 incidents involving the Gori reactor in South Korea just within 2 months, as well as a coolant leak in the Kirsko power plant in Slovenia. There are 2 other similar models of the Westinghouse-built power plant that have experienced difficulties mainly due to its makeup.
May I correct the good congressman? The 3 identical siblings of BNPP, there are only 3. Angra 1 in Brazil, KRSKO in Slovenia, and Cori 2 in Korea are award winners and record holders for performance, for safety, and for uptime. What the good congressman is referring to as difficulties are just standard issues that arise from the normal operation of a nuclear power plant. The IAEA has a scale of 1 to 7 to rate nuclear events and incidents. You can look at the event log of all of these plants, and the record is that these events are nothing out of the ordinary in running any nuclear power plant. It's just that the nuclear power industry is so strict that any minor event has to be recorded and has to be reported because walang itong industriyang ito is fully transparent, unlike other industries.
As we all know, the BNPP model is based on a 1950s technology, Mr. Speaker. So, short of saying this model, this Westinghouse-built nuclear power plant has been outmoded.
PWRs were invented in the 50s. Westinghouse owns the patent for PWRs. The newest nuclear plant you can buy today, Generation 3 reactors, are PWRs. They were invented in the 50s as well. The good congressman is playing with words. Our BNPP is a Generation 2 plus PWR. There has not been a single Generation 3 PWR that has been commissioned already. The first ones are going to be commissioned in the first part of 2017, that's early next year. So everything that has been commissioned, brand new plants, for the last 10 years have all been Generation 2 PWRs, exactly what our BNPP is. And then I go back to the example of Watts Bar 2, which is 10 years older than BNPP, was only 60% complete, but Tennessee 5 years ago decided that they want to complete it, and it was commissioned, and it is running at full power, and it has been given a 40-year operating license by the ultra-strict U.S. NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the best regulatory agency in the entire world for nuclear power. The BNPP, if commissioned, will be a brand new Generation 2 plus nuclear power plant. It will not be outmoded. It will be of the same vintage as plants being inaugurated around the world today that are Gen 2 PWRs. It will be exactly the same quality as those plants. In fact, I think I should give you a list of Gen 2 plants inaugurated in the last 2 years, maybe 2 or 3 years, to demonstrate to you and the audience that these are all Gen 2 style PWRs, which are exactly the same as BNPP.
Apart from the cost of rehabilitating the BNPP, pegged at almost 50 billion pesos or around $1 billion, one can expect that the cost of an extremely scarce and non-renewable resource such as uranium to go nowhere but up.
I would like to argue this point with the good congressman. Right now, uranium is at record low prices. If we had the running BNPP, we could have bought forward for a decade, and we would have been assured of really cheap electricity for decades to come. But to allay his fears, he should know that there is 4.5 billion tons, billion with a B, not an M, billion tons of uranium dissolved in the ocean. That sets the upper limit for prices. Currently, the price of nuclear fuel assemblies, uranium only accounts for 25% of the price of uranium fuel assemblies. If uranium were to double in price, it means that the price of nuclear fuel assemblies would only increase by 25%. And so it can double once or twice, it will still be very cheap power. But aside from being very cheap power, it will not require ocean freight, which is massive if you talk about other forms of fossil fuels like gas or coal. And it will have zero pollution, zero CO2. And what's the price of those benefits? Those benefits are protecting our environment. I don't think you can put a price on that. And so those premiums we get free of charge with nuclear power. How does the congressman wish to cover the cost of having that kind of clean energy? If eventually ocean-sourced uranium becomes cheaper than land-sourced uranium, then it is inexhaustible. Because what happens is that the rain that falls on the earth eventually drains into the sea, and with it, through the rivers and streams and runoff of water from land to ocean, the water carries dissolved uranium because there's uranium in all the soil in the earth, an average concentration of 2 parts per million. And this uranium goes into the ocean and is concentrated there just like salt. We cannot extract enough to affect this replenishment rate of uranium in the ocean. It in effect becomes a renewable resource.